Queens, and I'll start with you, Frank. I think, Bill, do you need help with your microphone?
No.
Okay. So Frank, let me start with you. It's very touching in your book, The Savage Way, you talk about your mom and how she was a hairdresser in D.C., Madame La Savage.
Madame La Savage.
Madame La Savage.
With that little curl to it, you know.
How did she inspire you?
Well, she inspired me in many ways. First, by setting an example herself, by making a decision when she first came from North Carolina to Washington, D.C. with, as she used to say, two twins. One of my twins, my twin sister Frances, is right here. And, my aunt used to tell me that Grace Savage, which was her real name, came up to New York, and she used to say, you know, I got on the train, and all I had was two twins and a can of milk. so thank God the train ride wasn't too long. So she came up, and then she sort of remade herself. You know, those days in Washington, D.C., everyone kind of worked for the government. You know, it was a very safe place to work. You know, everybody could give you some stability. But she decided that she wanted to go for it. So rather than working for the government, she decided to start her own business. And she started it in my bedroom. She started, as we used to say, fixing hair in my bedroom. I couldn't go to sleep until she finished with her customers. My grandmother would come down with a little towel and squeeze a towel on me and water. And she'd say, okay, Frank, you can go to bed now. So I watched her start from that humble beginning to get her own shop where she was very successful. I watched her when she decided that she wanted to become an international person in the beauty business. She wanted to differentiate herself. So what she did is that she took Frances and I up to New York. We stayed up in Harlem with some friends. She took us to what is now the Time Warner Center, and she was the only African American there styling hair. So she was exposing us to the international world right there. So what she would do, several cases in life, she would expose us to things. She exposed me to Africa, you know, because she used to actually do the hair for the wife of the Liberian ambassador. So I got to know them, and they came to our house. She was constantly opening up my horizons. You know, and I didn't know that, obviously, but she was opening up my horizons. And the thing about La Savage that was so incredible is that how could she have known that one day opportunities would develop for people like us, and that I would be ready to move through those doors. I was ready psychologically, because I believed in myself when she had told me I was the greatest thing since sliced bread. You know, I believed I had the education from Howard University, and then I had been honed up at Johns Hopkins School of Advanced International Studies. So when I walked into Citibank International, where no other African American had ever worked in the international division of Citibank, which was the biggest global bank at that time, I felt like I was ready for that. I didn't feel inferior. I didn't feel that, oh my God, how did I get here? I felt like I belonged there because I was prepared. But all of that started with Madame La Savage.
Madame La Savage, that's a great story. Dr. Cosby, you there? Your book is called I Didn't Ask to Be Born, but I'm sure glad I was. What's behind that title?
We had an idea that our children would find that we loved them and they would trust us. And we would guide them towards education, much like Frank's mother, and that they would find a foundation and go on and become whatever they wanted to become, with education opening the way. And so our firstborn daughter at age 10 I wasn't one of those people. So it's a very simple thing, one day, about a 10-year-old girl, firstborn, cleaning up a room. Those of us who are parents, you develop this sense of recognizing filth. And it's generally in an underachieving child's bedroom that you've given to these people. You gave them a room. And so my wife brought me up to look at the room. I don't know why she wanted to punish me. And she said to me, with the daughter standing there, the daughter was 10, and she's her firstborn. She's just trying to make my wife understand how much she hates her. My wife is a very wise, brilliant, off-the-cuff woman. I mean, these daughters and our son, they didn't know. They were afraid of me, but they didn't know who the wise one who could come up with this. I mean, I heard one daughter come downstairs and say to my wife, her mother, "I'm bored." And my wife said to her, "That's because you're boring." I mean, that didn't take any time. It was like... So my wife brought me up to the room, and she looked at me, she said, "Have you ever seen such filth in your life?" And I said, "No, I haven't, Your Honor."
Yeah, just go to my bedroom.
The daughter shouted out, "I didn't ask to be born." And that's where the title comes from. I mean, I thought of 3 things to say to her, but I didn't say them because I would not, I feel, get into heaven. One of the things I want to say to these young people, first of all, I want to thank these women, the Links, because I think that those people in this audience, many of you want to do something and you want to find something to help. But we need to be a nation of people who give, people who care,
Amen.
People who reach out. And these young ladies, they do that. They give service. Nobody told them to. I think maybe they saw it. Frank is that kind of person. And Frank will lead you to believe that his mother did so forth. But Frank won't tell you about these hits upside his head. When Madame turned into Mama Please. It is in the home, ladies and gentlemen. It's all in the home. It is not with an absent father who was very proud to say, "I don't believe in responsibility." I know sex is not that long. And you can get caught in a sperm cell wandering out where it shouldn't have been. But all you mothers and you fathers, and God bless Auntie so-and-so or Grandma so-and-so when somebody went bad and they adopted or had to take a child in and try and raise it against all of these things that are out there. And Frank will have to tell you that he graduated from Benjamin Banneker. That's a black school. Black school with white, Indian, Native American, Jewish teachers and black. And so when Frank came out of that, Madame who didn't have whatever education. See, she knew where Frank was going to go. And she also knew where his sister was going. Even though she called two people, two twins. That's 4 people. But Frank